Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Donna, and I'm your host of Donna's Edge television, radio, and podcast talk show. Thank you so much for watching every day, Monday through Friday, beginning 2 p.m. on the Eastern time zone as I get to ride home with you in the afternoon. It's always so much fun to be with you. Thank you so much for the email, Donna@donnasedge.com, Donna@donnasedge.com. Thank you for giving me ideas. And I know you like gardening, so today we're going to talk about tomatoes. But before we start talking about tomatoes, you can find us so many different ways on Channel 182 Charter Communications. That's around Huntsville, Alabama. You can find us that way. Worldwide, you can find us on Abundance Television, found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. And don't forget the podcast on thenewscasters.com. Another way you can find us is on all the social media sites. And we enjoy being with you. If you'll find me on Facebook, by the way, if you'll at least like the page, that's facebook.com/DFeasel. You'll be in the run for drawings, and that's every single Friday. And who knows, you might win a gift card or a gift certificate to an awesome restaurant. So go ahead and find me that way, facebook.com/DFeasel. YouTube and all the rest of them as well. But again, thank you so much for being with us, and thank you so much for watching. Let's talk about tomatoes. Now, who doesn't like a tomato? Well, I've met a few people who don't, but anyway, I love them. And so what I do, we raise tomatoes every single year. And so I had some tomatoes, and from some seeds, some recent seed that I had went on ahead and preserved those myself, and I threw them in the freezer. Get those out in February, I believe, is when I got started, and the greenhouse is not in effect yet. So I went on ahead, and of course, the whole house turned into a greenhouse, if you know what I mean. So I put way over 100 seeds out there, thinking, I'm going to be really happy if only 10% of them come up. Well, guess what? They all did. So I've been giving away tomato plants like crazy, and I still have some popping up. So, and also another thing that you need to realize with your tomato plants is, when you cut the leaders off, so here's your tomato plant. Let's just print it. This is tomato. And so you're going to have a branch that's coming out this way. It goes upward. Then you're going to have another one that kind of lays down. That one's the leader plant. So you want to take that one off, but don't throw it away, because what you can do with that is put it in some warm water, put it on the windowsill. This thing starts growing roots. So I even have more tomato plants just simply from doing that, doing a test run just to see if it works. And believe me, it does work. And not every single one of them will. It's going to vary, humidity and that kind of thing, but anyway, it does work. But tomatoes are nutritious, and they can be a healthy addition to most diets. So I'm going to be giving you some ideas about that and how you can take care of yourself and have these health benefits at as much as you want, because they are so good for you. And another thing they're good for is your skin. My daughter-in-law, who has the most beautiful skin I've ever seen, and she's in her 30s, still looks like a teenager to me. Her face is so smooth. So if it's a tomato, she's eating it, and so am I. So anyway, let's go ahead. I've got a couple of videos I want to show you, just really short ones. And so let's just take a look and see what you think.
Okay, now we're making tomato soup, and this is with the leftovers of the tomato peel. It has some of the thyme in it. By the way, I love the thyme blooms, and it seems to even give a better flavoring to your tomato soup. And also those scrappy looking onions, that's in there as well. Now this is an old fashioned thing right here, and we've had it in the several generations in the family. And see, it's actually leaking out right now through the holes. And what I'm going to do is, see this right here, you step that in, and there's all kinds of goodness that oozes out. Now you're not going to be stuck with the ugly part. Okay, you're not going to be stuck with those ugly onions. You're not going to be stuck with the ugly peel of the tomato, none of that stuff. This is going to be pure awesomeness. And when you are sick, or some of the family members are sick, there's nothing better. It's got the onions in it. It's got the thyme. By the way, people use thyme for congestion issues. I know when I'm making some of our syrups from elderberry, I use thyme, and again, I like to collect the thyme blooms, and I think they're probably a little more medicinal than the rest of the plant is great too. But I'm just saying that I really do like the thyme blooms. But here we go. This is just a quick video in how I can tomato soup. Don't.
Oh man, you gotta try that. You gotta try the tomato soup. And again, it's nothing to do. Now, if you would like a thicker kind of tomato soup, maybe you don't want it really runny, I got an idea for you. And we do this sometimes. So you need a little bit of a thickener, and it can be like a little bit of flour or something like that. And you want to get just a little bit of the soup, put in a cup, put about a tablespoon of the flour in the cup and stir it up really good. If you've got one of those whisks, that's even better. That you can go ahead and stir it up. Add a little bit of milk to it, and then put that into the rest of your tomato soup, and it will thicken it if you'd rather have yours thick. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. Sometimes you feel like a nut, sometimes you don't. Well, in most cases I do, but anyway, it's really good. And if it's really cold outside, go on ahead and warm you up some of that tomato soup, drink some of it, and it's better than hot chocolate, and it'll give you an energy boost like you don't know. And again, if you'll put some of your herbs in there like thyme, basil, it's even better to go with that. Let's go ahead and look at another really quick video, and I'll be right back.
Okay, guys, I want you to take a quick look at the tomatoes in the dehydrator. I like to kind of do two different types of dehydration with tomatoes. I like them to look just a little bit dark, kind of like this. And you don't want to take them out. You don't want to put them into the Mylar bags or any other bags for to prepare for later until they're crispy. But I like to let them go just a little bit darker. And I know that looks kind of disgusting, but I'm just telling you, when you let them get this dark and then you put them in anything, they're going to taste like a roasted tomato, and some of that black kind of goes away. So anyway, these are our tomatoes in the food dehydrator, and I've got several trays of them. And I like to also, see, there's some, I won't do all of them that way. Some of them I'm going to leave like this. But overall, I really do like the roasted taste of these tomatoes. I'll be back in just a minute and show you a jar with something that we absolutely love, and it lasts. It's in the wintertime. It's going to bring summertime into your home. I'll be right back.
Okay, now I wanted to tell you about this also. When you are dehydrating your tomatoes, another thing you want to make sure you do is put plenty of salt around them. Now, what I do is I'll start out in the trays, and I'll put them in single layers, by the way. You don't want them touching each other. They don't get along with each other, you know. So you want to keep them separated as much as possible. And then as they're drying, I'll go in, because they're going to go down to almost nothing, and I'll go ahead and start putting them in, separate, putting them in other trays and kind of congregating them up just a little bit. Another thing you want to do when you put these into your bags, or you can put them in jars, or you can just put them in the freezer if you'd like to do that. Make sure that all of the moisture is out of them, because if there's any moisture in there whatsoever, moisture is an enemy, okay? And so moisture would actually cause these things to mold, maybe mildew, especially if you put them in jars. If you're going to put them in bags, make sure you get all the air released out anyway, because you don't want freezer burn. But putting a little bit of salt on those as you've got them in the dehydrator is a good thing to do. Now, I put a lot of salt. And you would think you would taste it, but what it does is help draw that moisture out. So you're going to have a much more successful tomato in the dehydrator. Let's go ahead and talk a little bit more about the health benefits of tomatoes. They are rich in vitamins and minerals. So good for you. You know, a lot of folks only think of maybe an orange or a tangerine as having vitamin C, but there's as much vitamin C in a tomato as there is in an orange or a tangerine. That helps to support the immune system. And also skin health. There's something it does to your skin. You will have brighter skin. It's just a great big huge health benefit. Now, also, tomato is going to provide vitamin K, and that's important for blood clotting and also for blood health. Now, also, your tomato is going to contain potassium, which helps to regulate blood pressure and muscle function. So I want you to think about that, because we want to keep you around a long time. Now, Other ways I like to preserve this year, of course, all those 100 plants with 100, who knows how many, 1,000 tomatoes are going to be coming in. I'll be giving a lot of them away, but I'll be doing a lot of preservation. Again, we'll be hydrating them like crazy. And then that way, like let's say it's just, I'm tired from work. I've been taping shows all day, but I don't want to go out to get anything to eat, but I just want to grab something and throw it out on the stove. Those dried tomatoes are good in everything. We talked about soup. You can add it to soups and to other things as well, but it's good. Like if you like meatloaf, it's good to put in meatloaf. And then another thing it's super good for, again, is soups. You can put them on, sandwiches. Now, if you're going to put the dehydrated ones in sandwiches, make sure that you do put them in some water so they can hydrate. But now beware of this. You think, well, the dehydrated, I put a lot of them. If you put a lot of these dehydrated tomatoes, it's going to almost take over your soup. Make sure you only use half as many tomatoes as you would, because as they hydrate, they're going to get bigger again. And oh, so good. Now, another thing I like to do, and this goes back to gardening again, when I have tomatoes planted, I like to companion plant. And what I mean by that, I want to plant some of my herbs with it, some of my thyme, some of my basil. You can even put onions in there with them. Just allow them enough time, because those onions need a little bit of room so that they can grow as well. Anything like lettuce that doesn't take to a whole lot of summer heat like we have in the South. It gets really, really hot here. And while those tomatoes may be doing great, the lettuce is going to be doing even better, because the tomatoes are going to provide just a little bit of a shade contrast in those gardens. Now, I'm all into raised gardens, and the older we get, the more happy we are with a raised garden. So that's just another benefit. Now, in the ground, they go great as well, but let me give you a little tip. So let's say you cut off one of those leaders that's on your tomato plant, and you don't want to toss it, you don't want to throw it away. Go ahead and put it in a jar of water, put it up on a windowsill, a place where it can find some good morning sunshine. So those, and you've seen some of the previous videos with those leader plants, they'll grow a lot of roots there. Roots is the magic, okay? And you want good, strong, healthy roots as well. Now be careful when you plant these, okay? Make sure you don't damage the roots. And what I like to do, and you've seen me do this before, I'll just use this piece of paper for an example. So this is the tomato plant, and pretend the roots are hanging down here. Okay, so I've got my garden, I've got a little hole dug, and what I'm going to do is get that plant, and I'm going to lay it like this. So you've got all the roots down here, and make sure you place it in there, okay? Don't just jam it in there, because you don't want to hurt those roots. So I'll just go ahead and place it just like that, and then I'll cover my soil over. You don't have to go real deep, but I do a couple, 3 inches, because that going into the ground is going to give you a very, very strong root system. You are going to be so glad you do that. I cannot believe we're going into a break right now. Hang around, and we'll be right back in just a few minutes.
Twin City Used Car Sales has been serving drivers in the Northeast Alabama area for years with a quality selection of late model used cars, SUVs, and pickup trucks. On top of our extensive selection and competitive prices, we offer professional auto financing services for used car buyers of all credit levels. Whether you've just begun your search or you're ready to secure your next vehicle, at Twin City Used Car Sales, you will drive away with the vehicle of your dreams. The sales and finance staff at Twin City Used Car Sales looks forward to serving you, and you can apply for financing online before your visit to our used dealership in Gadsden, Alabama. Check us out on the web at twincityusedcars.com or go by our location at 901 First Avenue, Gadsden, Alabama. We sincerely look forward to serving you. You know, finding the right home isn't just about bedrooms and square footage. It's about comfort, security, and the feeling you get the moment you walk through the door. That's why so many families across Greenwood and the Lakelands area trust Jenny Ferguson with Keller Williams. And I'll tell you from personal experience, Jenny was my realtor, and she truly cares about her clients. Jenny takes the time to listen, to understand what matters most, and to guide you every step of the way, whether you're buying your first home, upgrading, or ready to sell. Because this isn't just a transaction, it's your life. With local knowledge, personal care, and a commitment to getting it right, Jenny Ferguson makes the process simple and even enjoyable. So if you're thinking about buying or selling, now's the time to make your move. Call Jenny Ferguson with Keller Williams in Greenwood today and take the next step toward a place you'll truly love coming home to.
Lowe's knows that the projects you build in spring are the ones you can't wait to share. It's why we make sure you have our best deals with My Lowe's Rewards and that you get help from people who've
been there,
done that.
Try this.
This spring, we'll help you build something rewarding.
Hey, Stan. What's up? I made you something. Oh, thank you. And I got something for you. You grew these? Of course.
Lowe's knows how to help you spring.
Okay, we are back. My name is Donna, and I'm your host of Donna's Edge television, radio, and podcast talk show. Thank you again so much for watching. I do appreciate your email, Donna@donnasedge.com. That's Donna@donnasedge.com. Again, thank you so much for watching. As soon as I get through here with the show, you know what? I'm going to fix this, probably something with tomatoes on it. It's going to be a lunch. And yeah, we get late lunches around here. And then I'll be going out in the garden, cutting off leaders again, because again, you've got to have that airflow going on in those tomatoes, just like a fruit tree. You know, you've heard us talk about peaches, for example. You've got to have kind of an umbrella effect with a peach tree. Same thing with a tomato. You need an umbrella effect. You want to get rid of the leaders, the ones that are pointing down, the leaves and the stems are pointing down. Get rid of those. Leave the rest of them, okay? Because you want lots and lots of tomatoes. I'm going to show you another video, and we're going to be right back in just a few minutes.
Okay, guys, this is the jar. Of course, we eat a lot of it. And it'll last in the refrigerator for just about 60 days. Now, I'm going to tell you, the older it gets, the better it tastes. But we can never resist. We always go ahead and start eating out of it right away. But I wanted to show you a little close-up with a fork. And what this is dehydrated tomatoes that I let you see just a few minutes ago. And also dehydrated onions. Now, the way you make this, and this stuff, by the way, is, it tastes like something straight out of an Italian's kitchen. So what I do is I get the tomatoes dehydrated, and I'll put them in water, and I'll let that boil in the water for about 2 minutes. And I've got some ice water ready and to stop the cooking. And so I'll throw those dehydrated tomatoes that have been in the water boiling for about 2 minutes in ice water. And then I'll drain all of that out. Now what I'll do is go ahead and prepare 1 cup of olive oil. Then I've got all my herbs that I want to put in there. And I'm just telling you, oregano, basil, any of those things will make this taste absolutely awesome. Okay, then after everything is drained, I'll go ahead and in layers, you can't tell it right now, but in layers, I'll go ahead and put tomatoes and the onions, and then I'll put some of my herbs on top of it. And then I'll just keep making the layers until I get up to the top. And then what I'll do is pour that warm olive oil down into this jar, and then I'll give it a little stir, and then I'll go ahead and place it in the refrigerator. It's great on sandwiches. It's great on pizza. It's great on stews. So if you're looking, let's say you just open up a can. Maybe you're in a hurry and don't have time to make a stew, but you've got some canned that maybe you bought from the grocery store. It will really bring the flavor out. So go ahead and open up that can. Put a couple tablespoons of this mixture in it, and it will taste exactly like your homemade stew. So great in spaghetti. It's great to eat on crackers. This stuff is just really good. But anyway, thank you so much for watching.
So what you can do, you can dress up anything. So again, let's say that you found some canned soup on sale somewhere, maybe some beef. It's not going to taste anything like yours, but you can dress it up and make it taste like yours if you'll use that simple recipe. It is so easy to do. Let's continue talking about how tomatoes are so good for us. Nutritious. I mean, it's just absolutely wonderful. We talked just a few minutes ago about some of the factors, and I'm going to give you this one right here. It contains potassium. You usually think of potatoes, potassium, but this also helps to regulate your blood pressure and also your muscle function. Supplies folate and several B vitamins. It's very high in antioxidants, so good for you. Tomatoes are especially rich in lycopene. You've heard about that. That's a powerful antioxidant that gives them their red color and makes them taste so good. But let me tell you something else. So for the longest, I could not get Phil to eat anything but a red tomato. He just didn't think an orange would be good. He didn't think a white heirloom would be good. So I tricked him, and I had him eat one in a sandwich and look inside the sandwich. And he goes, I said, well, how do you like that tomato sandwich? And he said, I like it pretty good. And I said, it's got a white heirloom in it. And he said, it's not a red one? And he opened up his sandwich. And those taste good too. The different variety, you need to know your varieties of tomatoes. So I have about 20 plants, I believe, of Roma. Now, the Roma tomatoes are very meaty. They're very easy to cut up. I mean, they're wonderful. You can save the peel, by the way, if you don't want to put it in your sandwiches. You can, or in anything else you're cooking, you can save that again and use it. Don't throw it away unless you're going to give it to your chickens. It's always a treat for the chickens. But if you're not going to do that, you can go ahead and boil that and make some tomato soup out of it as well. Now, Romas are really good for salsa because they're so meaty. They're also good for anything that you're looking for: ketchup, barbecue sauce. I'm going to be doing for the first time ever doing ketchup. I'm going to be making some of that this summer, and I'll key you in on that. Let you see how that turns out. Barbecue sauce is wonderful. Just anything like that you would like. The salsa again. I don't know how much salsa I've made in a lifetime, but Romas are really good for that. And then you got your slicing tomatoes that are really good in sandwiches, or putting I call them little tummy toes. They're the little ones about like that. We like to keep those just in the garden, and they're very refreshing. So if it's really hot outside and maybe you've had your water and you just don't want any more water, but you would like something else, you don't want to go get lunch yet, but you've been working in the garden and maybe you're not ready for supper yet, go pick one of those little tiny tomatoes on. They're also called cherry tomatoes. Pop that into your mouth and you would be instantly refreshed. I mean, they're just wonderful all the way around. So I want to talk to you about lycopene and how that helps to protect your cells from damage caused by free radicals and may reduce inflammation. This is something else that I study everything. At my age, I'm not through learning. Okay, so you can teach an old dog new tricks. You've got to be accepting. And believe me, I'm not a know-it-all, so I'm constantly learning, and I want to know how things work and what makes things, be good for you. So lycopene is something that I've done a lot of research on that, and it's something that you normally think of for your eyes. It's something you think of, like when everybody had COVID, that COVID outbreak was going on. A lot of people were asking, should I be eating tomatoes for that? And I'm like, anything. I'm into anything, especially if it's something you grew and there are no pesticides, no chemicals or anything on it. Try it. Let's just see. But I have to tell you, the closest I've come to a fresh tomato in the garden in the wintertime is probably stewing them. So what I'll do is roast them. And so what I'll do when I'm roasting the tomatoes, and again, it's almost like you're eating a tomato fresh from the garden. So what I'll do is cut up the tomato. I get as much of the liquid out of it as I can, but I'm saving that liquid. Okay, I'm going to be using that. I'll can it and use it for flavoring and other things. But get as much of the moisture out of it as you can. You want to turn the oven on to somewhere around 275 degrees, 300 degrees. Put those in your oven. Put some salt on it. You always want to do that. That's also going to help draw that moisture out. Put it in the oven for a couple, maybe even 3 hours, low oven, of course, and put those in the freezer. By the way, let them cool off. If you don't let them cool off a bit, you're going to start getting those little ice crystals in there. You don't want that. That could, it helps to take away the freshness from the tomatoes. And that's another thing. I've had a lot of you say, well, I don't do that because I don't freeze them because they have this weird taste to them. It's probably because you put them in the freezer when they were too warm. They were too hot. And it caused some ice crystals to grow on there. And I'm going to say that's probably what happened. So let them cool off. And you can even put them in the refrigerator to cool off if you'd like that, if you really don't want them sitting out on the counter for hours at a time, which I encourage you to do. And then going ahead and put those in bags. Make sure you get all of the air out that you possibly can. Put them in small container bags and put them in there flat. So if you're not going to use the whole thing, then you'll be able to break it off and then put it in whatever dish, spaghetti, chili. I didn't mention chili earlier. Man, it makes some of the best chili you've ever had. So, my mouth's watering thinking about it. And you can even use this in salads. Don't cook it, just take it out and let it thaw out overnight in the refrigerator. That's going to be your best taste, okay? And then just get it and just sprinkle it around in your salads, and it's super good. And so try that, give that a try. Let's talk about a little bit more about how the benefits for your health, and it may support your heart health. So let's talk about that, because the combination of lycopene, potassium, fiber, and vitamin C may also help in lowering the LDL, that's your bad cholesterol oxidation, reduce blood pressure. I'm just telling you, it's super for that. Support overall cardiovascular health. Folks are having a hard time with their health, with heart disease and that kind of thing. You really need to be eating a lot of tomatoes. May lower the risk of certain cancers, and some of that could also depend on what herbs you're putting in there for the preservation as well. Some studies even suggest diets high in lycopene-rich foods like tomatoes are associated with lower risk of cancers, such as prostate cancer. So make sure you think about that as well. If nothing else, if you don't have any tomatoes, get a real good brand of ketchup. And I know it's weird, but I'm going to tell you something. I think I used to love it when I was a kid growing up. Biscuits, my grandmothers would have biscuits made. They would give me ketchup because I would always ask for the ketchup. Where's the ketchup? So what I would do, instead of dipping it in gravy, I would get my biscuit and dip it in ketchup. And I'm just telling you, it tastes good to me. And maybe that's one reason I'm so healthy. And Phil and I are so healthy. But something, all of these things are going to keep you healthy. But let's talk about how tomatoes alone are not a guarantee against cancer, okay? So I don't want y'all coming at me saying, well, no, wait a minute, but more research is ongoing. Now let's talk about good for eye health. We talked about the lutein and that's in there, the antioxidants that help protect the eyes from age-related damage. And so that's something to look into, even if it's just a thought, maybe a total access has not been done about that. But I just love the taste of tomatoes and ketchup and that kind of thing anyway. Now, vitamin A precursors in tomatoes are also a support in your vision. Now, let's talk about how it supports your skin health. Boy, we're all talking about, a lot of you ladies out there, okay, we get it, but how's it going to help my skin? This is how it does it. Vitamin C helps with collagen production. You didn't know that, huh? Lycopene may provide some protection against sun-related skin damage when consumed on a regular basis as part of a balanced diet. Now, we do say balanced diet. You don't eat just tomatoes. That's not good for you. Eat other healthy vegetables as well. Actually, tomato is a fruit. We grew up saying, no, it's a vegetable. No, it's a fruit. No, it's a vegetable. I don't care what it's called. I like them. Aids digestion and weight management. Tomatoes are very low in calories, about 20 to 30 calories per medium tomato. They also contain water and fiber, which help promote fullness and supports digestive health. Now, fresh versus cooked tomatoes. This is very interesting. So cooked tomatoes such as tomato sauce, soup, or paste often provide more absorbable lycopene than raw tomatoes. How's that possible? Eating tomatoes with a small amount of healthy fat like olive oil can further improve that absorption. So things to consider: some people may experience acid reflux or health burn from tomatoes. There could be some allergic reactions. The only thing I'm allergic to, Phil says hard work. Another thing I'm allergic to is, that green funky stuff that grows out there, that you get. Yeah, I know. Poison oak, poison ivy. But I'm so glad I'm not allergic to tomatoes. Sensitivity to nightshade vegetables, some people have that. For most people, tomatoes are a nutrient-dense food that can contribute to heart, eye, skin, and overall health as part of a balanced diet. Thank you so much for watching Donna's Edge today. I hope it's all about tomatoes. I hope you learned something. I know I did just by doing some research on here. But again, thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time.